going on, guys? It's gonna be a video for how to do well on cars. I have put out 2 videos on how to do well on the cars section of the MCAT. Everybody is different, everybody is an individual, and some methods will work for you and some won't. That is why I put out several methods for you to maybe employ and see if it works for you. I've had some people email me saying that, hey, those 2 work fine, or those 2 don't work as well. Do you have any other tips, tricks on how to do well on cars? And I do. There's another method that I have experimented with. Maybe I can share it and maybe this one will work for you. Try it. Maybe I'll say do 2 weeks of passages, maybe 2 passages every day with this method and see if this one works better than the other 2. So with this method, what you should do is read the first paragraph of the passage, only the first paragraph, and then go to the questions. But then when you go to the questions, you read the first 3 questions and the answer choices. Then go back to the passage, read the second paragraph, and then go back to the questions, read the next 3 questions and the answer choices. Then go back to the passage, read another paragraph, and then go back to the questions, and by then you'll be done with all the questions. You have read all of them. Why does this strategy work? This strategy, what it does, it forces you to do active reading versus passive reading. Most of the times, these passages are ridiculously boring. Yes, you're reading, but you're just not really paying attention. You're just very passively reading it because you're not interested in the topic. So by you going back and forth from the passage to the question and the answer choices and back, you are pretty much telling your brain to be actively engaged in the passage, in the situation, in the setting of the place of what's happening in this passage. By you being more engaged in the passage, you will just naturally retain more. And then on top of that, the reason why I suggest you read the answer choices as well, because the answer choices will kind of give you some more information about the passage. Because as you're reading the passage, naturally, you'll just kind of forget or not understand, or maybe not look at some information in a set of eyes that the passive one should look at. The answer choices, they'll help you fill in those gaps. It will give you more of a whole understanding of the passage in general. Also, what the questions and answers are going to make you do is it's going to kind of help you realize what to look out for future paragraphs, and or what you should have already understood or caught in the paragraph that you have already read. So let's say you read the first paragraph and then you go to the questions. You're gonna read the first 3 questions. Let's say on question 2 is talking about something about first paragraph. It says line 6 on the first paragraph mentions this phrase. What does the author mean by that? Maybe when you read the first paragraph, you did not pay attention to that line. But now the fact that you read that question, now you may reread first paragraph to really see what that phrase in that paragraph meant. So right away you can answer it. Simultaneously, let's say same thing, same situation. You read the first paragraph and you read second question and it's talking about something that's going to be mentioned in paragraph 3. So already in your head, you're tracking that, all right, when I get to paragraph 3, I'm going to be on the lookout for this word or this phrase or whatever. So by you going back and forth, you're letting your mind be actively engaged. This strategy, it does work because you'll get a much more robust understanding of the passage. But with that being said, it is a bit time consuming because you are going back and forth, you're reading everything, and then once you're done with the entire passage, then you're answering the question. So in a way, you're reading the question and the answer choices twice possibly. So it's a bit time consuming. So one way to help you with the time is obviously to practice a shit ton, right? That's gonna help you regardless. But another way, I'll say, look at the question. See if by just reading the question, you need to look at the answer choices. What I mean by that is some of the questions, there's no reason for you to read the answer choices because it doesn't help you by reading the answer choices. It's hard to explain, but let me give you an example. Let's say the question is, the central thesis of this passage is, and there's 4 answer choices. It doesn't help you to read those answer choices because you won't know the central thesis of the passage until you're done with the entire passage. So by reading the answer choices, it doesn't really help you with anything. On the other hand, some questions, if they're referring to a certain line, word, phrase, it does help you to know what to look out for or what you should have looked out for, and now maybe you need to go back and reread that area of that passage. So this is the strategy, and not exactly a strategy, but one more tip that I will say is when you read reading these passages, force yourself to be interested. It's kind of silly, but I don't know, give it a shot. So everybody wants to act smart. Everybody wants to look smart, right? Like you want to be able to talk eloquently. You want to be able to know things that others may not know. You may want to share some of your intellectual, cerebral knowledge that maybe your friends don't know. These passages, they do exactly that. They give you information, they give you knowledge about a topic that the average person does not know about. So as you're reading these passages, the way I think of it, I'm like, wow, like I'm learning this new thing that I could tell my friends about, or maybe I could quote something from this passage, or I could mention an idea from this passage that's gonna look all stylish or intellectual or like whatever, right? It's kind of silly, but it kind of helps you really get into the passage, kind of helps you be more engaged with the passage. It just makes you a more knowledgeable, more sophisticated person because you're reading these passages that are heavy in content, and it's good content. It's not Us Weekly, and it's not celebrity gossip. It's about art, culture, politics, literature. So in general, it just refines your taste. It just makes you more eloquent. And so tell yourself that consciously, tell yourself that, hey, I am becoming a better person. I am becoming more cultured by reading these passages. That's all I have for you. Let me know if you have any questions about this strategy or any questions in general. Please like, share, and subscribe. All right, guys. Bye.